Okay. First of all, this is the second episode of Ego versus Ego. Want to first, before we even get further into the discussion, want you guys to subscribe, like, and share this whole audio right here. Get him, Ego Ferguson, the player management, father, grandfather, like he would say. I'm that guy, and I want to introduce my son. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, I'm Ego Ferguson Jr. First and foremost, a proud father. Also, former NFL player and student extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. I like that. Extraordinary. During the last episode, we discussed some of the journey from the Bahamas into this whole process of making a superstar, which I would consider him. So this whole second episode right here, want to deal more and want to get more involved with some of the things that you had to go through. I know a lot of times I sit back and I can analyze what I went through as a parent, raising you. I want to give the audience more of a perspective from what you went through. I would tell you right now, as a parent, we don't give that audience much attention for what you guys go through as a child. As a parent, we tried pretty much. I know you and I discussed this on many occasions where, we just doing shit on a hustle. We just trying to survive, but we never take into consideration some of the things the challenges that you have to face, and I think this episode right here, I really wanted to dedicate time into going through your journey. That's what I would like to do.
So you want to get to the action in the movie?
You call it action.
That's what you basically saying. Hey, I mean, where do we start? I mean, the journey was epic. I think first, I give it to God every moment, every second, every minute that I got to enjoy. And the future minutes I get to enjoy. I think, where do you want to begin?
I think the first place we would like to begin is when it all started. I think the start would be Walkersville. Coming from Mims, Florida, transferring to Walkersville.
Yeah.
And that whole transition, how was that for you?
Man, you got to think, first, before I can talk about Walkersville, I got to kind of talk about East Mims, Florida, to give them some type of description of the situation. You know what I mean? It ain't like you coming from an area of access, in a sense, you know what I mean? You coming from a rough area, so like when you move up north, y'all move a lot different up north, you know what I mean?
When you say East Mims, give me more of a true, because I was in East Mims just as a visitor, trying to make my thing happen.
It's like when you think of East Mims, first of all, shout out to 3001 Carver Street. That's what helped make me who I am. But you think of East Mims, you got a little bit of everything. You got the country, you got a little hood in it, you got a little bit of everything. And I think the biggest thing I noticed was when I made the transition is that we wasn't around too many suburban people. So coming to Maryland, opened my eyes up just to integration in general. And it's crazy because I never realized that I was segregated until I left.
Was it that prominent of a segregation?
Coming from Mims Elementary, when we leave school, most white kids go to the left side where they catch the buses. Most black kids go to the right side, across the street and walk home. So it's certain stuff you see as your eyes are open and you're exposed to more stuff like that.
So when you start talking about that, the integration from Mims to Maryland, so in Mims, how many white friends did you have?
We had a couple, and I don't get it misconstrued. What I'm saying is we definitely had a couple of situations. Like I play upward basketball, so I had a lot of different situations where I was exposed to a lot more stuff than the average person from East Mims was exposed to.
So when you say when you were exposed to more than the average kid from East Mims, so please go into more into that. So from you say the average, what did the average kid was exposed to, and how did it compare and contrast to what you were exposed to?
I mean, when you think about it, most kids, I mean, a lot of my friends, they caught charges early in life. So, a lot of life decisions was made early. You know what I mean? So you having to see people grow up fast. It's one of them type of situations where, they talk about, you see fast money, you see a lot of death, you see things of that nature. So it's like a whole different world when you go up north and people are more structured. Kids are more friendly. The situation is more conducive for you to be happy in a sense. Mm-hmm. And the South is almost like you kind of shield yourself so you don't get in trouble.
I can remember time coming down to visit you. This is when I lived in, it had to have been Texas. I came down to visit you, and of course, I was coming down, just literally riding through Mims. And you're riding through Easter.
Oh, all right, come on now. Shout out to the livest day ever in Mims,
I was riding through Mims in Easter, and
probably got it at the height of Easter, too.
The people just running up to the car to me and was like, oh, shit. He's back. He's back. And I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, what? So my thing is, growing up in Mims, how was that, how was that whole scenario for you coming up as the son of Ego Ferguson? Whatever that means.
The way you threw that question out there is even crazy. I think the biggest blessing I got in life is I moved so many different places. So I spent a period of time in Mims. I spent a period of time in Deltona. I spent a period of time in Maryland. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So each place you get a taste of, but you don't get full off of it. Understand what I'm saying?
Oh, it's the outsider.
Hey, come on, look in there. Outside looking in.
So that now you transferred from Mims, where it's a pretty much segregated society, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. And now you're transferring over to Walkersville, Maryland.
Oh yeah.
How was that transferred?
I mean, I can't start this conversation without shouting our championship team out. Hey, believe it or not, when we went to Walkersville, that boys basketball team, we made history. So shout out to the boys, man. You know what I mean?
Scott Morris,
Christian Harris, Brett Zimmerman. Jeremy Musselman, the list goes on.
Wow.
And obviously my name.
You forgot AJ.
Hey, come on, man. Shout out to my dog AJ and his pops. Both of them, man. Hey, come on. But going to Maryland, like I said, it was just an eye-opener to everything. You don't realize what you're missing until you get to see some different stuff. And I think just being up north and just exposed to a faster paced lifestyle was different.
So up north was faster?
Yeah,
way faster. What sense was faster?
In the sense of people were more innovative. People were thinking outside of the box. People were trying to achieve their dreams. So you're seeing it immersed inside the community. Down south, it's like people were trying to survive in a sense. You know
what? So now here's the flip side to this. From a parent standpoint, when I look at Maryland compared to Florida, mm-hmm. It's almost like almost like a reversal of what you're saying. Because in Florida, it was more hustle for me. I could make money. This shit always happening. So shit always popping. You know what I'm saying? When I was in Maryland, it was pretty much more structured.
Yeah.
Going to work, you have a certain set friends and certain set routine that you went through. Mm-hmm. When in Florida, that hustle was always there. There's always a hustle going on.
Yeah. You got to remember the time frame I'm coming into there. I'm not really looking about no hustle or nothing like that.
Yeah.
I'm looking about the structure of the place and what we actually can do and not do, the access you have versus not having. Mm-hmm. And in Maryland, it was just different. It's like, you left your door open at night at times, you was very comfortable. You ain't leaving no doors open in East Mills, I tell you that.
So you're not leaving the door?
Yeah, I don't operate like that.
What about the snow?
Oh, man. Now, that was different, too. My first experience with snow, I'll never forget that moment. I think we was outside probably my first week, maybe. And, you a kid, so you see snow, something you never seen before. You want to get into it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Go outside throwing a football, thinking I'm Randy Moss, you know what I mean? Won't catch everything. Fingers get a little,
tingling.
I ain't used to this. Hey, before I could ask a question, you know me, I run senses kick in, run to the bathroom, hot water, turn it on.
Ooh.
Boy, realest thing I ever did in my life. Taught me everything I need to know. I know. I don't need to know more. Hey, ain't mess with his sense.
So going into Maryland, especially going to Walkersville, where I can recall getting into that program, the Walkersville program, they had Scott Morris was, he was pretty much born and bred within the system. Yeah. Everybody knew Scott. He grew up in the system. Now here's JR from Florida. Now you was entrenched into the system. What was going through your mind now? All of a sudden now, because you brought the heat. Now you pretty much taller than most of the kids there. You're bigger than most of the kids there, and of course that Florida mystique was, hey, here's a kid from Florida. How was that whole process for you?
To be honest, I was just living. Like I think a lot of people kind of be looking forward, some people looking backwards. I was blessed enough to just be in the moment, just enjoying the process. So I think the biggest thing for me was the growth inside the program, right? We all have expectations, we all have, pressure that's put on you. I was able to always exceed the expectation. So I think just being able to have the opportunity to showcase my talent and to be able to be seen, Walkersville gave me the opportunity to be recruited and seen by different schools that gave me a chance in high school. So it was like one of the moments where, like I said, I'm living, so I'm watching Scott get all the the love and the opportunities and stuff like that. To be able to win a championship, a lot of people don't realize when you win a championship with a bunch of guys, it kind of like give you that everlasting feeling, being able to accomplish something at its highest peak. You know what I mean?
So my question for you is, earning that championship at that early of an age, that I can recall from a parent standpoint, it was like, wow, here's my son. And he was an integral part of this championship team.
Oh yeah,
how did you feel?
An integral part, like let's just call it out. like PR moments. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it wasn't like the boy didn't show up and show out. Right. Definitely put in moments in the middle school championship. But like I said, the biggest thing was that we was just such good friends in the midst of the journey. And I think to be able to share that with them was everything in a sense, because it just showed us that when you put your mind to something, you can achieve anything.
To me, when I look back on those years at Walkersville with you, it was quite interesting in the sense that here's you brand new into this whole school system, and you were basically the missing link to what they were needing. And to see you excel in that arena from a parent, I was like, wow, this is nice. This is great. And that pretty much led us to Coach Henry. We sit back sometime, we look at your whole career, where we look at, you playing in the NFL, and one person that sometimes I think don't get the proper respect or the recognition. Let me put recognition. Coach Henry was probably the first person that recognized your skill set.
Yeah.
And sometimes we talk about the Tillmans of the world, we talk about the Prunties of the world, we talk about Les Miles of the world and all that. But Coach Henry, all the way back in Walkersville, when he recognized your skill set, because at one point in time, I thought you could be a basketball player.
And see, this is the problem with the story, right? You got to understand who's telling the story.
Who's telling the story? Tell the story.
When I came from Florida, shout out to Coach Divorce. We was already putting in work. I don't know where this, coming
Coach
to Divorce, outward basketball, state championship. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Florida. AAU.
In Florida?
Yeah, AAU. Orlando Center.
I didn't know that.
Put work in. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why you need two perspectives sometimes, because you get the best of everything.
So who's Coach Divorce?
Coach Divorce was an upward basketball coach that recruited me for his team, for AAU basketball.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, hoop dreams has always been in me. You know what I mean? Maybe some people don't have hoop dreams. Some people have height challenges. I ain't saying who, but all I'm saying is, the basketball's been in me. But before I can talk about a Coach Henry, right, I got to kind of talk about the ups and downs of moving up north. Like, the basketball is one part, right? But the school integration was a whole different part.
I can remember a time when you pissed inside the...
I knew he was going to go there.
I can remember a time when he pissed in... I'm telling you, it's a true, real story. I'm sitting at work. I'm sitting at this time. I'm working for Toys R Us, and I get a phone call in the middle of the day and say, "Hey, you need to come to the school." I says, "Come for what?" It's like, your son just pissed inside the class. What the fuck you mean he pissed in the class? It's like, hold up. Your son pissed in the class. I said, okay. So I called him, the GM, and said, look here, I need to go to Walkersville. Because I don't know what the fuck is going on with my son, but I need to go to Walkersville. So I go to the school, and they tell me that you decided to take a piss in the middle of class, in the classroom. Please share that story, because we've never really fully explained what happened, Jay.
This was like the first instance of social media before social media.
This is definitely before social media.
You don't realize the telephone game you all done played before, right? When you say something to one person, you give it to the next person. And by the time I get around the room, you don't even know what the first person said no more. This is one of those situations. Right?
I need to hear this whole, left work for this pissing incident.
For the people, right? For the people that want to understand the situation. What grade? I'm in 8th grade at the time, right?
8th grade.
What class was that? I can't even remember the class.
It was a math class.
No, it wasn't a math class.
It was math?
That was a test for you to fail right there.
I don't feel too many classes.
Economics or something. We building stuff in that class, right?
Okay,
and we have a substitute teacher at the time.
Is a sub?
Yeah, substitute. Crazy, right? A lot of power for a substitute. We're not even going to talk about how she came into the room. Aggressive. It was like kind of out of control. All I asked, I put my hand, you know how they say raise your hand? If you got to go to the bathroom or have a question, I raise my hand. Ego, yes. Can I go to the bathroom? No. So in that moment, what would you do right there? If you have to use the restroom and somebody tell you that you can't go to the bathroom? When you follow protocol.
Me?
Please. Let the people see who you are.
I would have walked out and went to the bathroom. Fuck it. I'm just being 100. I would just walk to the bathroom.
Yeah. Okay. So I tried to do that. You know what happened? She jumped in front of the door like Spider-Man.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right. I can't make this up.
Are you serious?
If anybody is in that class that day, please comment on this, because I promise you, she jumped in front of the door like Spider-Man. So it threw me off guard. I'm just like, you're protecting the bathroom for what reason? If I have to go to the bathroom, there shouldn't be no conversation back and forth about me using the restroom.
Yeah.
But for some reason, she had it on her mind that day. So all I did was deal with a normal person would do if you have to use the bathroom.
So what did you do? What's a normal person do?
Release.
Where did you release?
I went to the exit door in the opposite side because she was guarding this stuff. You ain't that fast. Like you can't guard 2 on 1, okay? And I just, stood outside a little bit and let it do what it do.
So you mean you pissed in class?
Nah, it was outside the door of class.
So the kids...
Left foot in class, right? Left foot in the door, right foot out the door. I mean, if you want me to be technical.
How many days of suspension they gave you?
Man, I can't even recall what actually happened after the moment, because the lie was so crazy in the sense of what was going on. To see a principal act like that, it kind of took me for surprise.
The principal? How did the principal act?
Yeah, you remember Mr. Hunker? Or Mr. Honky?
Hunker, yeah. Hunky or
Hunker? You remember how he acted?
Hunky or Hunker, which was it?
You remember how he acted? He was there.
I was trying to figure what the fuck happened. It was it was a long time ago. It was like...
You took their side for a second. Like, you came in aggressive. Everybody,
I was like, hold up.
Everybody was aggressive that day. Aggression was not missed during that time. I'll tell you that.
Hold on, you get a phone call in the middle of the day and say, "Oh, your son take his dick out and start pissing in class."
The question I would ask my son if I was in the situation: what would make you take your dick out and piss if it's a bathroom down the hallway?
I did ask you that when I got there. When I got there, I did actually.
If I could have had a camera in the situation, you may be surprised at how you acted at first. Because you was in disbelief. You couldn't believe my story at first. I think that's the problem. As a kid,
it was kind of difficult.
If an adult say something versus a kid, especially back in that day, you're automatically wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely agree.
And so that was like some of the trials and tribulations as you're going through success and integrating in a new environment and stuff like that. People don't tell you for the personal things that people may have against you or stuff like that.
But then again, also you at that time, here's a kid from Florida, new kid in Florida, you playing basketball, you doing your thing on basketball, and now you are above average from performance standpoint.
Yeah, you bigger than everybody, right?
You're bigger than everybody. You're taller than everybody. You're bigger than everybody.
All this is stuff I can't choose. I want people to understand this, right? This is all given to you. It's not like I woke up saying, God, let me get some height. He gave me height. You know what I mean?
So you probably the biggest kid in class in school.
Hey.
So now that attention is on you.
Yeah.
So the teachers, they see this whole thing also coming on at you right there.
And you're up north and you're black.
You black up north.
It's different. Huh?
You're on the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, it's just a lot of different stuff.
How was all that for you?
It's good and bad and everything, right? Because I can easily talk about the moments when AJ Myers and his pops opened up his house to me and offered me all the love and just gratitude of being and helping me with certain situations. So you just see left and right.
So now you transgress. You won a championship at Walkersville.
Yeah.
Hell of a champ. First championship. Was that your first championship?
Yeah.
First championship.
I don't know. My childhood was a lot of trophies, so I can't really tell you if it was the first or not. But it's one of the most iconic ones.
Iconic championship. No, that's a major championship. Walkersville.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now with Walkersville, you won the championship. Then I tell you what I, as a parent, what I realized right off the rip was looking at one thing I noticed, number one, was the level of competition.
Yeah, hey, I like what you just tried to do right there. Wind it back though, because what you noticed. When did you notice? Let's talk about it. When did you notice? No. When did you notice the moment? Like, when did it hit you?
What you think? Level of competition?
Yeah, no. Me pursuing the next level, having the opportunity to play sports. What was that moment like?
The park and recreation camp?
Yeah.
When you first came down.
Here.
When you first came down, I worked in night shift at Toys R Us. And I was like, I'm trying to find something to keep your attention while I go to sleep, while I'm working. And then that first time I went to practice, one of those the Frederick City League, whatever the case may have been. And then I'm sitting there and I'm watching this. I'm actually at the camp and I'm watching.
No, you gotta tell them where you was at the camp because it's like the camp was to the right, you was like to the left.
So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the kids and I'm like, okay, you bigger than most of the kids out here. I only see 2 kids that have your size. That's Forrest and the black kid with the braids.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
I can't remember thinking that. So you 3 were the 3 biggest kids at the camp. As far as the age section, I'm like, so I'm sitting there watching this shit, and I'm like, damn. You, first of all, the height-wise, you right with them. There's only 3 kids. And the skill set, you were better than Forrest and the other kid. So I'm like, okay. You got a little something. Then after the practice, half of the parents are like, coming to me is like, raving about you. It's like, hey, do you need any help? I'm a singer. At that point, I think me and Veronica was going through a divorce at the time. Or we were going through bad times. And it was like, hey, if you need some help, we can pick him up or we can take him this, we can take him that. Because I'm working and I can't depend on Veronica. So I was like, hey, okay, they want to do this shit. Okay. He got a little something going on right here.
Hey, you just PG-13 that whole little story.
Please tell me your story. Please tell me your story. Please tell me your story.
You animated it to almost like Bugs Bunny when you see the
no, tell me your perspective.
This is how you told my wife. I'm gonna go and tell a story.
Oh, please tell a story. I want to hear this shit.
You sitting in the car, you going over what you going over, or you hear somebody talking about somebody good. You like, who they talking about? You say you look over there. You're like, I know they ain't talking about mine. You say all of a sudden, all I see, you went from looking like this to looking like ching ching. You remember that story?
Hey, I got a lot of stories. I got a lot of stories.
But yeah. But shout out to Coach Henry, though. Like you said, he definitely get a lot of credit for his situation and what he put into us because he definitely seen something out of nowhere. And it gave us opportunity to get to St. John's.
No, I think the St. John's was... what I liked about St. John's was the fact when he came to me, our choices at the time was Walkersville or Frederick High School. And when he started talking about a Catholic school, I know smaller classroom or, at that time they were a basketball powerhouse.
Yeah.
Because they had the Wilkins, Dominique Wilkins, and
Damon Wilkins.
His nephew.
Nikki Teasley. Stu Vetter was coaching there.
Stu Vetter, yes. Hey, shout out to Stu Vetter. Stu Vetter was the coach over there, and I was like, well, shit. If we can get him at a private school, and they're gonna pay the majority of I think they paid like 75, 80% of the scholarship. I was like, shit, I can make the other 25%. We can make this shit happen. So recognizing your abilities at the time, I was like, okay, let's make this shit happen.
It was different. Like to be recruited like that. It was my first time actually being recruited for something different. To move to the next level, and like you said,
that's even before football.
Yeah, I'm about to say we haven't.
This all basketball. We haven't touched football yet.
The hoop dreams. I be trying to tell a lot of people they be thinking I be playing about my hoop dreams. I'm like, y'all just don't understand.
And folks, when I say this was solely basketball, we haven't even touched the pig skin at all. This is solely basketball.
Yeah, facts. But man, yeah, St. John's was a hell of a place, man. You got to think about.
Who's the old coach at St. John's, football coach? The older guy before
Phil Martin.
Phil Martin, yes. Yes, Philip Martin.
But I mean, you got to give a description of the school, man. You say Catholic school, you may think it's a lot of money put into the school. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Describe the school.
When I got there, we was promised a new school, and I think they still ain't got the new school.
They finally got it.
They went to another school. They didn't get a new school. Two different things. Now, I'm gonna be honest, like y'all got us with that one. It's kind of crazy. But when you come to St. John's, it's an old school 1972 mansion. That's the first thing you see sitting on the hill.
And the trailers.
You pulling up to you don't see the trailers at first when you just see the mansion.
Yes,
you pull up on that little rock. I remember you start turning right, the little car line. Yes. Yeah, I remember the little, what they call it, the trailer we had for the football players to the left on the soccer field.
Left on the side.
And then you had a whole bunch of trailers in the back.
Yes.
And how much we pay for that?
I think that school, I don't, because the Marriott's paid for
Shout out to them.
Oh yeah, the Marriott they stepped up big time with that one right there. What was the name of the Grandes? What is it?
Evan Grande.
Evan Grande, yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Shout out to Evan Grande and your people, man. Shout out to them.
Yeah, they came up big time and they stepped up and paid 75% of tuition for that right there. Yeah. So my whole thought process was, okay, you're not in private school. No, you're not in public school. That private school education would be a whole lot better. So that's when I was like, okay, good. That's an opportunity. Let's run with it. So at that time, I had the same hoop dream you had. Was, hey, this kid gonna be an NBA player or something. Well, I wasn't even thinking of NBA. I was just thinking about making sure that somebody paid for college. I give two shits about the rest of that. I just want somebody to pay for college. So how was that? How was that transition from Walkersville to St. John's?
Man, again, different. Again, it's three different environments now we're talking about and I had to get used to, right?
How's different from Walkersville?
Public and private, two different worlds.
Really?
Yeah, especially when you're coming from middle school to high school.
What's the difference in there?
Man, the way they operate, the people that you meet, the access that they have. We talking about in middle school that we pulling up in townhouses and stuff. And in high school, I go to Nick Fooster house and he got the whole mansion to himself.
Whole mansion?
Oh, man, shout out to Nick Fooster, man.
How's Nick? You still have one?
That's my guy, man. Hey, we started kicking it in world history and ain't stopped since. So it's like, it's just different access and you see different stuff and it's just.
What's the kid that died? What's the guy that is it Kevin?
Who?
The kid from North and we used to go to his parents' house that died over the overdose. He was the power forward. His parents used to always
Troy King. Rest in peace to Troy King.
Troy King, yes. Yeah,
it just was a lot more access, so you've seen a lot of stuff.
A lot more money.
Yeah, it's a whole different type of access to money. I'm seeing basketball courts in people's house. It's stuff I ain't never seen before.
So it was that big a difference?
A huge difference. And again, we going from Florida to Walkersville, now we going to St. John, so each step is something different that I got to kind of get used to or figure out what this is. Ain't like we had that. You cold now, but we ain't had no basketball in the house. You ain't even put a little basketball up. I was just saying. So it was different, like just the mingling and the social aspect of stuff, right? Like school is one thing, but socially fitting in and like you got to think, even with playing football, shit, our team only had like 40-something people maybe the first year.
This is with Phil Martin?
Yeah, with Phil Martin. Like, it's not like you had a whole team, so everything is caduced. Like, everything is, like, smaller in a sense, you know what I mean?
Well, even with St. John's, you guys were considered a basketball powerhouse.
Definitely.
That was the whole thing. I mean, I was all geeked on this basketball. I can tell you one thing I noticed was when you were playing at Walkersville, even playing at St. John's, my concern right away was the style of play. And when I was saying style of play, I'm talking about inner city versus the burbs. Because we were St. John's, we considered the burbs.
Definitely.
So I was determined to get you that inner city look. That's when I started taking you down to Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And I got you in the AAU basketball in Baltimore because I wanted to give you some of that grind from the city.
Yeah.
And because I thought that Walkersville and St. John's were pretty much soft.
Man.
Was that a right move, or what do you think? Babalu?
Hey, man, shout out to the Baltimore Crusaders, man.
Who's the coach? Was the coach Ty, right?
I ain't even about to do that today. I ain't even going there today. Listen, shout out to the Baltimore Crusaders, man. Y'all definitely gave me an environment
Crusaders,
to
yes.
overcome. That environment, a lot of people don't understand that ball up there is a lot different, man.
How's it different?
The crowd's involved. Everybody's involved, man. It may be a shootout in the game. You never know. The games gets intense, and then they have this motto like they ball more. You know, they call it Baltimore. They ball more. So it's like when you're in that type of environment now, the practices was crazy.
How was it for you coming from Walkersville to now? Hold up, you went from Florida to Walkersville to St. John's. Now you're going to Baltimore.
So now y'all feeling me now. Y'all see what I'm trying to tell y'all, right? I was just a kid in the moment. And each step is a new situation that you got to overcome. And so it's just like the first two, at first it's a shock trying to figure out how do you add your value to a program. Because you coming into a situation where you're an outsider trying to fit in. And
you in that Baltimore shit, you was definitely outside. Yeah, you from the burbs, you coming down to the city. Of course, you one of the bigger kids in there again.
And they know you from the burbs.
And they know you from the burbs.
They won't try you like you saw. So it's like you go through this stage of, I remember at one point, we get a new power forward center every other week.
Every week they try to replace you.
Same thing. And somehow still started, it was the craziest experience. But it just showed me perseverance. I think the biggest thing is just giving me a new environment to see if I can adapt to, and it showed me that I can adapt to it.
I know for me personally, when you went to that Baltimore situation, it was like understanding that you had the ability to adapt, and taking you from Walkersville, Frederick, and taking you to the Baltimore, and to see how you integrated, and it was a slow start, and you just picked up. And then you just
dominated.
You started doing your thing.
On the work. And I think the biggest thing was just like you say, the style of play was different where I was coming from. So it's not even like
it was that grind.
You could prepare for what you was going to see. It was just going into the unknown, having faith in yourself. And I'm glad God showed me that I can do it.
Yeah. So now you have the year at St. John's and you started playing football, but their football was like almost like 4A. The 4A.
Yeah, I can't remember the level.
Whatever level. It was not no
all
level.
I can remember literally is Coach Martin having me at linebacker. Boy, look here.
How was that?
I knew one thing real fast.
How'd you get it going?
I ain't no linebacker, boy. Look here. It's too much moving parts. I got to call plays out for somebody else. Watch where the pulling coming from, the backfield, the turn. That was way too much thinking for me. After that first year, talking about, I'll never forget. I think it was like John Curtis. Maybe we played the first year. They played a wing tee. Mm-hmm. Man, I won the fight by the second.
I remember that game. I remember that we went to West Virginia, so that game somewhere out there in West Virginia.
Every spot, literally. I'm like, after this, it ain't football no more. I got to get a lick in to feel like I did something out here. Hey, but it was crazy. The first year was rough, and like I said, this stuff come with highs and lows because most people talk about the highs, but I will never forget my freshman year. I was like, yeah.
I remember your freshman year, we went, me and Jeff, shout out to Jeff.
No, you're not gonna do. Hey, yeah. No, you what? Yeah, no. You and Jeff, you was there recording, talking to Jeff. Hey.
So literally, I realized after your first year of basketball, your height, you was at 6'2", 265. Your freshman year in college, in high school.
Nah.
6'2", 265. Yeah.
No.
What do you think it was?
Freshman year. 265 freshman year?
Yeah, 6'1", 6'2", 265.
Nah.
What you thought you was?
I think sophomore year I got to like 250, 260.
No.
You may be right. I don't know.
265.
You may be right. I don't know. That's kind of big for freshman.
Yeah. So but you didn't grow too much higher. You stayed at 6'2".
Imagine somebody 5'9" telling you ain't grow too much higher. Like, this shit gotta be stopped.
You didn't go too much higher. So you bet you gotta appreciate I had a vision.
You had a ladder.
So I'm like, hold up.
The mark.
I'm like, hold up. I think after your second year, we only had some minuscule offers from basketball. We had Morgan State. We had some Shepherd. Some of those smaller schools.
This is what happened with basketball. I'm going to be honest,
Talk to
right?
me. I don't want to hear basketball.
Y'all don't understand recruiting until you be in the midst of recruiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my first year, I got expectations. I'm about to start the next year. I see 3 dudes from fucking Canada come in 6'7" and above, and
Grandy.
motherfuckers asking me to host my replacement. Hey, that's what happened. Yeah, hey.
How was that?
It was different, man. But I love competition. So
Jay, Jay, hold on. We never talked about this.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You were at the point in time you had what's the guy's name? The guy with all the kids in North Carolina. JJ.
Hey, I don't know what we got going on today. I don't know. Shout out to JJ, man.
You had JJ was the big guy in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Nikita, Georgetown.
Nikita was nice.
Georgetown, 6'7".
But he was getting ready to leave.
Yeah, but that's Georgetown. That's what you fall in.
He went to Georgetown.
Yeah, D. Minsky,
Trayvon. So we had some good ballers. And you were the new one. You the new kid.
Again, outsider trying to fit
in. Now, all these guys getting ready to leave. And this is your year to come in. And they brought in all these Canadians in.
I'm talking about
6'8". Thomas.
6'8", 6'7".
Grandy was 6'6". And not only that they brought him in, you were hosting one of them.
You was hosting one of them.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I was talking what I was doing. Hey, I ain't had no choice.
How was that experience right there, though?
Wow. Oh, wow. You start to see your hoop dreams diminish in the midst of your eyes.
I mean, did it bother you any, or did it play any role into your psyche or anything like this? I never even looked at it as how's this gonna affect you mentally or whatever the case may be. I never looked at it.
I always knew that my talents was never appreciated in basketball.
But you still only 6'2".
That's why my talents wasn't appreciated in basketball.
You was 6'2". Grandy was 6'6".
Yeah.
And Kevin was 6'8".
But I put that dog on their ass.
They had a dog.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like one of them things where, reality sunk in quick. I could complain about what I can't control, or I can adapt to the things that I can control. And fortunately, at that time, as basketball was getting taken away from me, football was flourishing.
Ah, yes, football. That's when they got rid of Coach Phil. Phil Martin got rid of that same year, right? Next year, they had brought a new coach.
Yeah.
Jimmy Ward.
Shout out to Jimmy Ward. Yes, sir.
Jimmy Ward. Yes, that's good. So now basketball is football. You have football, but now even in football, you had Lamont on that team right there, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I learned about myself is that I consider in a room full of men are great and not question myself. Yeah, there was never a question of what somebody else doing. I always thought about what I'm doing.
But I can tell you what right now, when I look back at your sophomore year, I think sophomore year in high school, when I looked at, I think after that year of being a starter on the basketball team with Grandy, Kevin, and all those guys, you were still that guy in the middle. You was top rebounder. You scored your points. But my concern was your height. When I'm especially looking at Grandy, looking at his ass every day in his house, at 6'6", Kevin at 6'8", and you still at 6'2". Even though you're outperforming them, but when you walk on the court, these kids are fucking towers over you. And then when I looked at football, I was like, okay, at 6'2", you still considered the big guy at 6'2". And the only thing I had at that point, that especially your highlight tape, man, your highlight tape for your sophomore year was probably one of the best highlight tapes. And I've scoured a lot of highlight tapes that whole year. Except for the kids running your ass down.
I ain't even about to take it that far now. You out of pocket right now. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is like not hating on somebody else's light, right? I seen a situation where these guys were getting glorified, and one, you can take the point of view of like you want to hate because your light is getting diminished, or two, you can embrace the situation. And so it wasn't like days when Grandy wasn't up or something like that, I would leave him in the room. I'm gonna wake you up. I want you to be great. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing that we got to kind of highlight in today's world. Another man greatness don't stop your greatness. And I'm glad I took that mindset, because if it would have stopped me in basketball, where would I have been in football if I had that mindset?
Deep shit. I mean, because like literally in football, when you start looking at, and again, here we go again. Now here's my mindset. Football, when we start looking at football, when you said your height still set at 6'2", 6'2 and a half, and you was at 265, 270. And I'm like, okay, there were some games at Walkersville, you had 6, 7 sacks.
I mean, St. John's.
At St. John's, you had 6, 7 sacks, but the kids were it was like, it was small.
After our first year, and this a lot of people don't realize, our first year we was in like the A division. When we got a new coach, we got Coach Ward, we moved down to the B or C division, you know what I mean? So it was like the level of competition came down essentially in the conference play.
So that's when I was concerned. I was like, shit. I was like, your conference, man, you had some guards and 5'9", 265. Yeah, you could run roughshod all day. And that's when I started looking for better competition. Same thing I did in basketball when I went to Baltimore. And that's when they introduced me, when I was selling my jerseys, I went to Coach Tillman. I found Coach Tillman down in D.C. Mm-hmm. And that's when he invited you to come down to that classic, whatever that camp they had over there. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna bring JR down here and see how you compete. And they had a kid, Darren Drakeford.
He was the man.
Darren was that shit. He was that guy.
He ain't competed at the camp. Everybody came to see him.
Everybody came to come see Darren.
But and again, this is another situation outside trying to fit in. I just let you
outside of trying to fit in.
How many times this done happen? You know
outside of trying to fit in.
And it's usually in the form of somebody testing to see if you can do something or not.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's not like you coming out with the expectation that you got to prove something. It's usually in the midst of you realize that, oh, this is, like, I'll never forget that little camp in D.C. I'm not even going out there to compete. We went out there to sell the jerseys. And they started talking trash.
Yes.
And I had stuff in the car.
Let's get this shit in the car.
You got me fucked up. And I'll suit up anyway. I was suited and booted, baby. You know what I mean? And they ain't realize the type of cat I was.
You know, fucked up with real. I was parlaying you. Because everybody look at your size from a football standpoint, 6'2", 260. Every coach wants you on their team. And I literally was selling you, hey, my son's really not happy at St. John's. We can, if you look at these jerseys right quick, we can do something right quick. If you look at this jersey. And everybody want to talk to you. Everybody wants you on the team. So they said, I'm going to buy these damn jerseys. Can we get this kid on this team? So, but when Tillman was like, hold up, I'm going to try this motherfucker. Tim was like, hold up, let's see what you got going on over here.
Yeah. First of all, rest in peace and Coach Tillman,
man. Oh, man, Tillman.
One of the best personalities I've ever been around us, just as far as genuosity, just great energy, fun, loving. You know, you get all that mixed in one. But yeah, he set the stage up for me to knock the pins down, and I wasn't even understanding it or knowing what was going on. It's like at each step, he kind of put me on the spot. Hey, to see if you can do it or you can't.
And let me give some recognition to Tillman. Tillman is a dear friend of mine. He gave me my first opportunity at DC Public Schools. He gave me my first contract at DC Public Schools, and he gave us an opportunity to shine on a wider scale. Yeah, because he had, I don't know if I told you this, he had Darren. He pretty much piggyback you on Darren's scholarships.
I would never forget the
because
trip
the
to
University of
Illinois.
Maryland, they wanted Darren like a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically pushed you on top of Darren. So every school that was looking at Darren, Illinois with Coach Loxley.
It came from University of Maryland.
Came from University of Maryland. So everybody that was looking at Darren, Coach Tillman put you on and say, look here, I know y'all want Darren, but I got this other kid from St. John's. He's a fucking beast. And that really started that whole ball moving for you. And not only so now, here's what Coach Tillman did. He got the ball moving for you from a football standpoint. Then what he did for me personally, he got the Ego Sports. He got every other coach in that league to buy uniforms from me. Mm-hmm. So I know that sometimes you don't sit back and appreciate the angels that came into your life.
Man,
but he was an angel, and it's unfortunate that he passed the way he did, and I just never had an opportunity to tell him. I know the night before he took his life, he called me, and that was crazy. Where he called me, and I didn't answer my phone. And it still haunts me to the day where I still have that message where he wanted to talk to me. And that same night he took his life. But here's somebody who was integral in your life. And then he's also integral in my life. Because he really gave me, because when I left Toys R Us and I started doing my own thing with Ego Sports, he was the catalyst for me getting those DC contracts. And I just want to take this opportunity to really thank Coach Tillman from Roosevelt High School in D.C. for being that person that not only embraced you, not only as a player, but almost like a surrogate father, and me as a true friend. Mm-hmm. So I got to give him that respect and that recognition right there.
Yeah, that shit crazy when I think about it, but it just takes me back to that car ride. It takes me back to the moments. It takes me back to the little stuff, the moments that was filled in. If you had a blank, you would be able to fill it in. The type of energy you don't see too often. And I was just appreciative to be able to have those moments with him and to be able to blossom in him,
I can remember one of the times I can recall when me and Jeff went to watch you play down in Baltimore. And I'm sitting there and I used to record all of your games so we can sit back and analyze your play. And I'm sitting there watching, I was like, damn, this motherfucker, this dude, I think he might have stayed with basketball because football is not going to be the thing. How was that to you?
I ain't gonna, see, this is why I'm here. I see why I'm here now. This is why I'm here. I'm here to fill in the blanks, okay? It ain't go like that. Look. So we playing the game, right? Now we is getting beat down. Like shit is ugly outside.
Kid quit.
I don't know if it was storming, but it felt like it was storming how we were getting whooped. It's just all the shit was going left, right, and I think it was like maybe 2-3 days, and my father had this thing where he wanted to get me better with interviews and watching film and things of this nature. So we would take the little recorder.
We got to be credit. I was innovative. I was doing this shit early.
Yeah. Hey, let me rock out real quick. You did your thing. Hey. So we would plug the recorder up, you know what I mean? And I think it's almost like one of these recorders here where you talking, but you're not realizing it's recording the audio. So as he's putting it on so we to watch the film, he done forgot about the conversation he done had. So I think we getting some pizza or something like that. We downstairs eating. All of a sudden, motherfucker, you just hear, yeah, Jeff, that motherfucker may be a tight end or something. Jeff. The defense ain't his thing. Now, you got to imagine. I got the pepperoni in my mouth. I'm over here. I look at this motherfucker like, what? Hey. And they look at me my bad. Hey.
But that was like, those days were kind of when you look back at Walkersville, St. John's, I can recall your first offer. Do you remember your first offer?
Yeah, University of Illinois.
University of Illinois, Coach Loxley.
Yeah, we drove like 8 hours.
Coach Tillman again.
In a van.
With
Coach Tillman
and
Darren Drayford. Yes,
Darren
sir.
Drayford, yes. How was that experience?
hilarious. Man, I think from the minute we rented the car, it was like Tom and Jerry with me and Coach Tillman. I don't know what transpired before then, but all I knew is that whole car ride was entertainment, like live TV. Like from the comments to the gas station stops to getting back in the car. It was one of those moments that I would never forget because I was literally crying laughing. I remember when I touched his head, he said, "Oh, you like touching heads, huh?" I remember that shit. He said, "I don't know where you from now. I don't really do the head touching stuff." But
I remember that shit. But that was no, you forgetting that trip right there. Remember you had that allegation.
Oh man, I mean, life is about highs and lows.
So you had that. Here's what I recall from that trip. You had that kid from Illinois, that big kid they called the Predator. He was like 6'6", 315, and nobody wanted to go against him one-on-one. So they first started you with the lower level kids, and I'm like, man, my son, you dogging those little kids. I said he needed to be moved up. And you start pointing out motherfuckers you want to go against. And you call the Predator out. And the Predator came out with kids he had a whole entourage with his t-shirt on, with a Predator, whatever the case may be. And you rocked his shit. How was that?
All right, so
that spin move.
So I'm giving y'all 2 point of views. Okay, I'm giving the parent point of view, and I'm giving my point of view. That's y'all. This is how you want to take it. But so what I remember from that camp is like we had 2 separate. You had the upperclassmen, you had the underclassmen.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I don't even know if I went with the underclassmen.
You went with the underclassmen first.
I think it came from. I don't think I started with them.
No, you went.
I think the whole point of the trip was to see Darren Drakeford.
Right.
Literally, like we're following around Darren Drakeford. As we're going, they're telling us about a camp that's going on. So we're outside during the camp. This is how funny life works. Me and Coach Tillman, they're literally showing Darren around, and we're just talking in the back of the campus. So we hear this guy making a lot of noise, and I don't know if I said something first. I feel like he said something first. Like, well, he'll do you.
No,
man.
You said something first.
I'm almost certain Coach Tillman said something first. And I ain't trying to lie on my dog right now, but I'm almost certain my dog said something first. And you know, naturally, what I'm gonna say, you got me fucked up.
Strap it up.
I'll do him too. You know what I mean? Hey, but I'm not under the impression that they're gonna let me do the camp. This is an upperclassman camp, so I'm like, I can talk all the shit I want. I ain't about to suit up. Coach Tillman looked at Coach Locke and said, "You got some cleats?" And this one it got real for me. He said, "Yes." I said, "Oh, hey."
This is at University of Illinois.
Yeah, this ain't meant for this right here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm having a conversation back here. I wasn't trying to get up here type stuff. You know what I mean? But the situation had me in a situation, you know. And they brought the pads out. They brought the cleats out. You know what I mean? Gave me some gear, and it was on and popping at that point, you know?
You gave his ass a spin move on the first go.
Yeah, I ain't even gonna lie. This was basketball coming handy because you talking about my hoop dreams. My hoop dreams got me my first scholarship. I want people to understand that.
Yeah, that shit was nice.
When I came off that line, he tried to knock my top off, you know what I mean? I hit him with one of the spin moves off the line, left him in the dust, and the rest is history. You know what I mean? It was crazy after that moment. I think I went one more time, hit him with an in and out chop swim to the outside. Coach Locke said, "That's it. We can offer that boy."
Offer that boy right there.
I ain't even know offers went like that at the time. I just knew from the way we talked about D1 offers, compared to my first offer, I'm thinking it's supposed to be like a briefcase come out the sky or something. Like, it's supposed to be some type of monumental moment. When he said, I was like, damn, that's it.
That's it right there.
Crazy.
Well, this is going to close off. First, again, I'm going to tell you right now, please subscribe, like, and share episode 2, Ego versus Ego. The real shit, you know, father and the son having a conversation about life, sports, and hopefully that this will inspire or give some direction to other kids who are going through it. Parents are going through this whole process. What do you think?
You know me, man. Elevation, motivation, inspiration, man. Do something with your kids, man. You know what I like.
Well, look forward to seeing you guys in episode 3.